What's going on, Port fans? Welcome back to another video on the channel, and we are talking Port Adelaide versus Geelong today. A preview for round 19 at the Adelaide Oval, 4:05. It's going to be a massive opportunity for Port to take it to the best team in the comp, Geelong. At the moment, they are absolutely thriving. And Port Adelaide are coming off a loss to Melbourne in Alice Springs. It's going to be a very, very feisty game. I think a one that Port Adelaide definitely obviously have to win to keep any sort of finals hopes. Obviously, we're a game outside the 8. And a bit of percentage, but a win against Geelong would be quite nice, and we've got a decent record against them at the Adelaide Oval. So let's just get straight into it and preview round 19. It is a massive game, and every game from now on is still a massive opportunity for Port Adelaide to take a stance on what it has been a disappointing 2022. Geelong, on the other hand, have an opportunity to continue to solidify their top 4 spot and potentially for the minor premiers in first place. And obviously they've come up against quality opposition of late, beating the D's at CMHBA Stadium and also beating Carlton at the MCG. They're in red hot nick at the moment, and Port Adelaide, whilst have been a pretty good side over the last 10 weeks or so, have had a few hiccups. Obviously losing to Fremantle and then beating GWS convincingly, but also losing to the D's in Alice Springs. Opportunities that have gone missing for Port, and they've thrown away opportunities to make the 8. I think we just throw away any opportunity now and stop thinking about what can be for the rest of the year. Let's isolate these games, make the most of them, and as supporters try and enjoy footy, because I think overall the discussions for off-field and changes that we can make, both for players and coaches, that conversation will happen. We have to make the most of what is the rest of the footy year, and as much as it is a frustration to be a supporter of your footy club in general, and if results aren't going your way, you just want to see success. For what it is, I'm going to enjoy footy for the last 5 rounds of the year, and hopefully we're going to pick off some big scalps, because we've got some big games to play. Geelong at home, we've got Collingwood at the MCG, Richmond at home, and then Essendon and into the showdown. There's some certain agendas I think Port Adelaide should focus on and push. I don't think finals is one of those. I do feel like we still have a massive opportunity to try and salvage something, and by all means that should be the highest priority. But there's certain other things I reckon we should try and illuminate for the rest of the year. That's playing some kids, giving the likes of Burgoyne a go, Taj Schofield a go, Bryn Teakle back into the side, Josh Stinn if he's fit enough. These players are available, and just try and find a mix and maybe bring back in Sam Hayes and give him a last month and see what he can do, or just try some different things, because obviously the mentality at the moment is quite stagnant, and I think overall we're just not going to be able to do much, even if we do somehow crawl into the final 8. And I fully believe we can try our best to do so, and I believe in this team 110%. But overall, we're playing a Geelong outfit this week, and I'm bloody scared. Selection's going to be interesting. I think with Geelong, how many key assets they've got. Stanley's their main ruck with Blitzarves. But I do think we stick with the ruckman of Dixon and Finlayson against both of them. I reckon that's a good matchup. Finlayson's obviously quite mobile, can match it with Blitzarves, and Dixon with Stanley. That's going to be a great, great competitive nature in that middle ground. Anyway, so I don't think that changes too much. I like that matchup there. But in terms of going forth with the potential of a midfield change, I think Rosie's obviously doing a fantastic job. Boak was fantastic last week. Ollie Wines. That midfield mix is good enough. I think last week overall the defensive unit failed us a little bit more than I reckon we anticipated with the small stocks, and I reckon a couple of changes down there would be quite important. And with the availability of Burgoyne still there, he was a sub last week, and I don't think the likes of Georgiades as well down forward is particularly played a good game, and I would possibly look at debuting Ollie Lord. I know that would make us quite tall, and on a ground like the Adelaide Oval, that would definitely hinder movement going inside 50, whilst you want Marshall thriving. That Marshall, Ollie Lord, mixed with Finlayson, Dixon, all rotating through that forward half, could be a different mix to change, and I reckon would definitely be an opportunity to do so. Do we bring in Orazio Fantasia after finally being available after all this time? Yeah, possibly. I think you might trial it. But overall, that's the one change I'd make, is to Ollie Lord in, Georgiades out. And then down back, I'm bringing Burgoyne in. I don't think there was too much wrong with how it planned out last week. I do feel like Mead and Farrell definitely had failures of games. They weren't quite as potent as they normally are. Mead definitely probably comes out and maybe give another opportunity to Taj Schofield or anyone else that's available. Maybe, obviously, that Mead for Fantasia aspect does come into it. So that could be another option there. So plenty to play out on the selection table. It's one that definitely Nathan Bassett and co have to discuss. Ken Hinkley will come into the frame later part of the week. But overall, that selection process, it's still a... They say they've got selection headaches this week. I don't think they've got headaches. I think they're very clear of what they can do with that 22. Geelong, well, how do we stop Hawkins and Cameron? Cameron, to me, is the best player in the comp at the moment. The way he moves the ball up the ground and also hits the scoreboard. The bloke's kicking 5 goals a game and then having 30 touches. What happens there? Do you have Tom Cleary on Hawkins? And then do you have Tom Jonas actually playing on Cameron? And Aliir roaming about? He could take a Blitzarves or he could take a Stanley if he goes down there. Or and then you've got the small forward conundrum. Because they've got Stengel, they've got Close, they've got key pillars that can go down there and actually cause a bit of havoc. And with Keziah Pickett absolutely dominating our defensive unit last week as a small forward, that's a big question. Do we bring in another small defender? Do you have Tom Jonas playing on a smaller player? Or do you have your Burn Jones, your Burton types locking them down? Because I think as half-backs and back pockets, we were too free last week. We tried to be overly attacking, and that's not going to work against a Stengel, a Close, a Hawkins, a Cameron, and co. all down there. One thing I do think Port Adelaide do have in favour of them against Geelong is the fact that last year's qualifying final definitely was a blueprint on how to beat Geelong. Overall, Geelong have added a bit of pace, they've added a bit of speed and a bit of skill nature to their game, which has been certainly something that's improved them out of sight. They did have a slow start this year, but I do feel like they have brought it to play and they've showcased that. They're just a class above everyone else, and the contested game is still one of their key components of how they win games of footy. So we've got to match that in the middle. But the one thing, obviously, we have, as well as that qualifying final win, is the home ground advantage. I think last year Geelong did come here and beat us by 4 goals after a 6-goal last quarter each or something like that happened. But overall, our main asset is our ability to actually lock down the defensive half. And with Geelong being such a forward natural team, we can be able to manipulate them and really expose their defensive units. And they don't have the keyest of stocks down back. De Koning's been fantastic, but I really feel like we can expose that on the transition, and maybe if we can a bit of a slingshot play, we'll definitely work that out. That's going to be something that we have to look into for our game plan and tinker with that a little bit, because on paper and on the ground, I think Geelong do us, but anything goes. Saturday twilight, Port Adelaide, Geelong. I'm tipping us by 11 points. I'm never going to back down from the fact that I will be tipping Port Adelaide no matter what. This is a Port Adelaide channel. I do believe we can win every single game, and I'm tipping us by 11 points. We're able to stand up in the moments and we've been able to fight back this year, which the resilience of the group has actually been one of the more impressive things from 2022. So do we fight back and come back and beat Geelong? I bloody hope so. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below, Port fans, of this week's game. I'm thinking, as I said, Port Adelaide might actually get the job done, because they just love to give us hope, and every time they give us hope, they rip it away, but then they bring it back. It's like offering a kid lollies. They can't take them all, but they definitely can have a bite of a couple. So we'll see how it happens there. Let me know in the comments below of your thoughts for this week's game. Subscribe to the channel if you're new for plenty more Port Adelaide and AFL content coming your way for the rest of the year. Nearly 5,000 subscribers, 300 and a bit to go. So all you have to do is hit that subscribe button and join in on the community that is ThePear. My name's Anthony. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, come ThePear.